Hey River Youth students.
Hey River Youth students.
Hey River Youth students.
Hey River Youth students.
Hey River Youth. We want to welcome you to our service tonight.
We miss hanging out with each one of you guys, but we're so glad that you're here.
Join us as we hear a powerful message from Pastor Kyle.
Welcome River Youth students. We're so excited that you are online with us again. I hope you guys are doing well. Today's kind of a gloomy day, and I had this brilliant idea this week that I thought was going to be awesome. Turns out the forecast wasn't working in our favor today, but I was hoping for a lot of rain. Right now I can just see a little bit of drizzle coming down here and there, and maybe throughout the message it's going to rain. And I wanted to preach a message in the rain, and I'll tell you why here in just a moment. But I need a little bit of interaction with you guys here and as we're going through the service tonight. And so I need you guys to do something for me right now. If you're watching on YouTube, I need you to move over to our new platform that we've been using the last few weeks, rvryth.online.church. So I need you guys to go over to that platform because there's a public chat there where you can type and text in some different things as we're talking together here tonight, as well as live prayer. If you have a prayer request, all you do is click live prayer, and the prayer request comes to just us as the River Youth staff, and we will be praying with you. So you can click on live prayer as well as interact with us, as I need some just interaction with you here in just a moment. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to give you just a minute as these geese are flying behind me or over us somewhere behind me. I'm going to give you just a minute to move over to rvryth.online.church. And as you guys are moving over, I have a special guest here with you tonight, with me tonight. It's DP right here in his gi.
You have requested, and I have granted once again.
So he's in his gi here tonight, and just for social media things, we want you to caption this look as you're moving over to the rvryth.online.church. Would you caption this right here?
Praying mantis.
The praying mantis, sure, but different. Come on, take a screenshot, post a picture of
Karate
the gi,
Kid, classic,
and capture this right here. This guy. Hold on, can I just show them one thing? Can you turn around? Look at this guy. Got a little bun going. Oh, that's kimosabi. Kimosabi. All right, thanks Dylan. So Dylan's gonna head out right now, and let's get into the rest of this service. So the reason why I wanted to preach in the rain, and I'm hoping that maybe through special effects or maybe the clouds will bring some rain here today, that we will have a little bit of rain as a part of this service here tonight. But rain brings a variety of feelings. Rain brings so many different emotions to people. Rain can be looked at as a good thing. Rain can be looked at as a bad thing. There's so many different sayings when it comes to rain. And so I want you guys to post in the live chat right now, what are some bad things that you think of when you think of rain? What is something bad that you think of when you rain? Right now, begin to type them in the live chat. You can, again, just anything you want. What is bad that is what is considered bad when you think of rain? What is a bad time for rain? When don't you want rain? Okay, so begin to type those in. And I see some of them are coming in here as we're watching here with you guys. But one of the things is on vacation. You would hate for it to rain on vacation, right? I remember a time Sarah and I, we went down to Florida with another couple, and we were spending this time. It was the middle of winter. We thought, let's go down south. Let's go into some warm weather. We'll go to the beach. We'll go golfing. We'll do some fun things together. We get down there. It's raining and 32 degrees. 32 degrees in Florida. Guess what? They were canceling school for 32 degrees. How weak is that, right? Like, we're going to school when it's negative 32, no problem, right? Because we're tough. We're like that. We're from Minnesota. But they were canceling school because of the rain and the cold weather, because kids didn't have warm jackets. But we went on vacation. That's a bad time for rain. Numerous times. Going to Canada, fishing with the family, and it begins to pour. You don't want to be in the middle of a big lake when it starts raining. That's a bad time for it to rain. Maybe an outdoor sporting event you're really looking forward, and in this season, it's not necessarily the rainy season, if you will, as far as things going on around us, but this pandemic is kind of making it like a gloomy, rainy season for us, and all of our outdoor sports are canceled. You guys hate when you guys have a baseball game, a track meet, a softball game, or football game outside, and it begins to rain, and it's just this, you don't like that. It's a bad time for it to rain because they might cancel the event because of the rain. One time, this was a bad time for rain. I was doing a wedding. It was an outdoor wedding for a couple students that went through our youth ministry in Sartell, and we're outside, and all of a sudden it's nice, it's like this, and all of a sudden the clouds come and it begins to rain. And I'm not talking like a drizzle, I'm talking like pouring rain. And I'm holding my iPad out like this, trying to get the notes down for the wedding, and all of a sudden rain hits my iPad, and my iPad is going all over the place. I couldn't follow my notes, and I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to say next. It turned out to be still good, and it was really, really funny and kind of fun now that you think back to it. But that's a bad time for it to rain. I don't like rain because a lot of times when it's raining, it's cloudy like this. And when it's cloudy like this, there's no sun, no vitamin D. It's not as warm right now. I'm freezing in my t-shirt, and this wind is blowing on me, and there's dust all around, or maybe that's just light rain. I don't know. There's stuff floating around me. I think it's light rain right now. Another bad time for rain is when you get so much rain that it floods. Farmers don't want their fields to flood, but they do want rain for their crops. And so those are some bad things. What are some good things? Right now, type in the live chat, what are some good things that rain brings? What are some things that you love about rain? When is it a good time for rain? So if you could, right now in the live chat, talk to us about rain. What do you love about rain? What is good about rain? And so you can put those things in there on the live chat right now. I'm going to say this. I think, and I don't know if anyone is going to mention this, but one of the best times for rain is the day that your Phi Ed teacher tells you you got to run the mile, right? How many of you guys are with me in that? Like, you know, like tomorrow you're supposed to run the mile, and so you immediately check the forecast to say, oh man, when's it going to rain? It's going to rain during my class period. So I might not have to run the mile, and then you get to school and your Phi Ed teacher says, hey, mile's canceled today, and you're like, oh, thank you, Lord, for sending the rain. That's a good day. You like it when it rains, when you're supposed to go outside and run the mile or do an activity for Phi Ed that you don't necessarily want to do. Another good time. Maybe you guys like rain when you're sleeping at night. You like hearing the sound of rain. Or how many of you can't wait for that first thunderstorm this spring that comes and you get to enjoy the thunderstorm? Another good day for rain is when you just feeling maybe you don't have much motivation, and so you just want to grab a blanket, a book, or binge watch Netflix, and so you're hoping for a rainy day just to relax and sit back a little bit. I know my kids, when they sleep, they have a machine, a little alarm clock, if you will, that actually has the sound of rain because it's soothing. It brings noise, and it helps them sleep a little better at night. And so rain is good for that. And in the midst of a drought, years and years have passed, and we've seen a lot of people that have prayed for rain. Why? Because of a drought. You want rain because the drought, you want rain in the midst of a drought to bring water to life, to the rivers, to the lakes, or to the crops, or to whatever, your gardens. Rain is good for a garden. Rain is good for your grass. Rain is good for the leaves and the greenery that you see all around me right now. And so rain is good for certain things. Now, what are some sayings? Type in the live chat right now. What are some sayings that relate to rain or have the word rain in them? You can type them out right now. And I see some of them are coming in, and one of them is this, like I think of, when it rains, it what? Type it in. When it rains, it what? When it rains, it pours. So let's say a bad event happened or something negative happened in life, and then you turn to your left and you're like, oh man, another bad thing. And then you turn this way and you're like, oh, another bad thing. Man, when it rains, it pours. It seems like everything is coming down on me, and I'm just in the midst of this flood, and it's raining and it's pouring on my life. Another one, it's raining cats and dogs. It's raining cats and dogs. You guessed it with me. There's a country song. Some of you might know. If you know it, type it in right now. I'll give you a second. There's a country song that talks about something. It's called Rain is a Good Thing. Rain is a good thing. And for a lot of people, rain is a good thing. And we're going to talk more about that tonight. Here's another one. Don't rain on my parade. Don't rain on my parade. Man, I am having a good day. Somebody tries bringing me some bad news. You look at them and say, hey, don't rain on my parade. This is a good day. Or maybe it's your birthday party or some sort of a party, and you're like, man, don't rain on my parade. This is my day. I don't want any bad news, and I don't want you to take over this. This is my day. Don't rain on my parade. And so those are some of the things. And again, rain brings a variety of feelings and thoughts that come up when it begins to rain or when we see rain in the forecast. Opening fishing was last weekend. I looked at the forecast. Guess what? It rained. I don't remember a fishing opener where it wasn't cold, windy, and raining. It's always raining. It's like it's a must-have on fishing opener. Rain and cold and sleet and hail, whatever you want. That stuff happens on fishing opener. And I don't necessarily love that. I asked my dad, when's the last time we had a fishing opener without rain? He goes, I don't think we've ever had one without rain. There's always been rain. And it brought this feeling of discouragement. Like, come on, can I just get a sunny day for once? And sometimes that's what rain does. That's sometimes what the storms and the clouds do. Like, we can't wait for a little vitamin D. We can't wait for a little bit of sun. And so I looked into scriptures. I looked at the forecast for today on where we should go to church on the move, and I saw it was supposed to rain. And so I thought, let's preach in the rain. This is going to be fun. It's going to be something different. I've never preached in the rain, and now it's not raining. So kind of funny. But anyways, we'll keep going with this. But I looked into scripture, and I found a number of verses. I believe I read 22 different verses that had the word rain or talked about rain. But rain is also associated with storms. And whenever there's a storm, there's typically rain that comes with it. I remember a time my wife and I were driving back from church when we were living in the cities. We're driving down Old Memorial Highway, or Highway 55 down in Minneapolis, and as we're driving down, I see like sheets of rain coming flying across the road. And I thought, how sweet is that? And I love storms. I love running around in them, getting outside in the storms. And I said, honey, let's get up to that storm up there. Let's get through that rain. I want to drive through that. And I got about a quarter mile away from it, and I realized that's not just rain. As I saw trees flying across the road, we saw a pontoon go across the road, and what was going on, it was a tornado. It was a tornado. And so a lot of times when there's rain, that means there's a storm, and sometimes the storm can be really bad. And so I looked into scripture, and I found all over scriptures that talk about storms, rain, or different things. And let's just look at a few of them here today and see how we can relate them to life. You look at one story early on in the Bible in Genesis chapter 6 through 9, you read about Noah and the ark. You read about Noah and the ark, and here's Noah who has found favor with God because of his faithfulness. And at this time, there was a culture, society. All the people were living in such a way that wasn't pleasing to God. And so God was really disappointed in the people. And so he decided to send a flood and a bunch of rain. As a matter of fact, it was 40 days and 40 nights of rain that he was going to send. And he told Noah, because those geese literally just scared me right there because they honked right there. Sorry. I'm a little bit, where was I? Noah, okay? Noah and the ark. Noah found favor with God, and for 40 days and 40 nights, he was going to send rain to bring a flood on the earth. And so Noah found favor with God, and so he told Noah, go build this ark. Give him the exact measurements and how he was supposed to build it. And so Noah and his family went and built the ark together. All of these animals, put them onto the boat, onto the ark, and then it began to rain. And it rained so much so that if you find in chapter 7, verse 19 through 20, it says, they rose greatly on earth. The water rose greatly on earth. This flood became on earth. And it said, all of the mountains under the entire heavens were covered. The water rose and covered the mountains to a depth of more than 15 cubits. And you're like, I don't know what 15 cubits are. Neither do I. But my Bible told me that it was also equivalent to about 23 feet. The highest mountains were 23 feet underwater. How many people in our world feel like they're 23 feet deep underwater right now? Because when it rains, it pours. How many of you feel like, man, I feel like that's how my life has been through this pandemic. When it rains, it pours. It's just bad thing after bad thing after bad thing. And I believe much of our world lives in that state, 23 feet underwater, just like the mountains were. Feeling like that when it rains, it pours, and they're in the midst of a flood. It's been raining for so long that you don't know how much longer you can take it. And again, I believe much of our world lives that way. Some of our friends maybe think that way. Some of the people you reach out to, some of the people that we raise funds for 30 for Freedom or Speed the Light or for water wells in Africa. Man, I even heard people in Africa that over World Surf posted that they would rather die from COVID-19 than from lack of water. It's crazy to think that. And here we are, that it's been raining for so long that you feel like you can't take it any longer. Maybe you feel like you're living life 23 feet underwater, just like those mountains were underwater. And James tells us this in James chapter 1. It says, consider it pure joy, my friends, when you face trials of many kinds. Consider it pure joy when it rains. Consider it pure joy when the storms come and it feels like when it rains it pours and it's all coming down on you. He says consider it pure joy. Why? Because it develops a perseverance to make it through the storm, to make it through the rain, to make it through the season. And we'll talk more about this at the end of the message today. What happened to Noah and his family and what he saw at the end of the storm, at the end of the rain, when everything was at least 23 feet below the surface or more. What happened at the end of that? And James tells us, consider it pure joy in the midst of the rainy seasons of life, because it builds a faith that you will make it through the next storm that comes. And sometimes it takes you right through the storm. Sometimes God leads us or walks with us right through the storms, right through the rainy seasons, because when it rains, it does pour. But then there's other times when God takes us and he covers us and the storm passes around us. You ever watch the radar on your app? like if you go on your app right now and you click on the radar, you can see that there's maybe rain in the forecast or around you, and it turns green. And then it gets worse and turns yellow or red or even into purple or white or sometimes blue. It turns different colors. Sometimes you look at that and you see your dot where you're at right at that moment, and that storm is coming right through you, just like it did for so many people, or just like it maybe is when it rains, it pours. It's going right through you and you're going through a rainy season. But then there's other times where that's coming right for you, and all of a sudden it just disappears, or it goes to the south or to the north or to the east or the west and goes right around you. And there's times when stuff like that happens in life. You think of the Israelites in the book of Exodus when Moses was going to free the Israelites, or God's chosen people, from being captive in Egypt under Pharaoh's leadership. Moses was sent back there, so Moses goes back to free the people in Israel, and you can find this in the book of Exodus. And as he's going to free them, there's all these plagues, because Pharaoh says, no, I'm not going to let the people go. I'm not going to let them go from this moment right now, because I got them. They're our slaves. They're captive to us right now, so I'm going to keep them. And so Moses said, all right, so be it. There's some plagues coming. There's some things that are going to happen to you. And God protected his people in the midst of a hailstorm, which is one of the plagues, protected his people. It's like this last weekend, I'm out fishing with Hudson and Caden, and they're with me in the boat, and we're fishing on opening fishing, and it's raining out. And I'm watching the radar, and I know that the heavy rain is about there, so I said, okay guys, let's put the cover halfway on the boat. I got my rain gear on, it's kind of raining. You guys get under the cover, and they were protected from the elements. And here I am in the back of the boat, driving 25 miles an hour across the lake, getting pelted in the face with rain. And then it turned to like little small pebbles of hail. I saw it bouncing off the boat cover. These guys had no idea what was going on because they were protected from it. And I'm in the back of the boat getting hit in the face by all this hail and the rain and things that are coming at me. And I wasn't necessarily protected, but they are. And sometimes God protects us. Sometimes God makes the storm divert around us to protect us from those different storms. And that's how much God cares about us. He cares about us so much so that sometimes he walks with us through the storms to develop that perseverance. And sometimes he makes the storm go around us. But I believe every storm has a purpose, and that you guys can read into what God is doing and seeking and tune into what God is saying to you in the midst of any season, the stormy seasons and the non-stormy seasons. And sometimes God protects us. And yet there's other times when the rainstorms in life begin to push us to places we need to be, or to do things that we are called to do. You look at the story in the book of Luke. It's actually in three of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And in Luke chapter 8, you read the story of Jesus and his disciples. They were at a place, and they got on a boat, and they began to sail across the lake, Jesus said. And as they got on the boat, Jesus was sleeping underneath the bow, and he was protected from the elements, if you will. And his disciples were on the top, and they noticed that the storm was starting to rage. All of a sudden, there was a bunch of rain coming down, the winds and the storm began to push the boat around, and they were terrified. And so they went to Jesus and said, hey, Jesus, aren't you scared right now of everything that's going on around us? Don't you see this? And Jesus looked at him and said, where is your faith right now? And he commanded the storm to stop, and the seas grew calm. And then they landed at a place. They landed in a region called Gerasenes. And there, when they stepped off the boat, Jesus immediately stepped off the boat. And when he did, he was approached by a man. He was approached by a man that everyone in the area knew him. He was naked, and he was always violent because he was demon-possessed. And Jesus looked at this man, and he said, what is your name? And the voice came out and said, Legion, because there were so many. He was possessed so much so that there was so many, and they just called themselves Legion. And they said, don't cast us into the abyss. Don't make us go into the abyss. And they said, hey, there's some pigs over there. Send us to the pigs. And so Jesus is looking at this man who's demon-possessed, and he says, all right, go into the pigs. And so they go into the pigs, and the pigs run into the water and drown. It's kind of like a gotcha moment, kind of like tricked you, like I'm not going to cast you to the abyss, but you're going to go run into this lake and you're drown. And so these demons go into the pigs and they go and drown. And the shepherds, or the people watching over the pigs, were so amazed. They ran back to the town, gathered all of the people, and brought them back to see Jesus. And when they came back, they saw a man that was clothed and in his right mind. Clothed and in his right mind, once was naked and violent and was possessed. And here he is, clothed and in his right mind, no longer violent, no longer naked, and he's talking with Jesus. And Jesus gets back on the boat, and as he's getting back on the boat in Luke chapter 8, verse 39, the guy comes to him and says, hey, Jesus, can I come with you? I want to come with you. Please let me come with you. And Jesus says, no. Here's what you are to do. You're supposed to return home and tell how much God has done for you. And in that moment, Jesus sent out the first missionary. He sent out the first missionary to go back into his hometown, to go back to his friends, to go back to his family, and tell how much God has done. And here we see that a storm pushes Jesus and his disciples to a place that they are supposed to be. The rain pushed them to a place that they were called to do something, and it was to free this man who was demon-possessed to go home and tell of all that God has done. All that God has done. Maybe God is pushing the storm, or in this rainy season is pushing you to a place you need to be, maybe for your sake or for the sake of others. Maybe God is pushing you through this rain and the season to do what God has called you to do in this season. To do something for somebody, maybe for your sake or for the sake of others. Are you being pushed to a place that you need to be? And are you doing what God has called you to do in the midst of this rainy season? 2 Peter is something that's been on my heart here today as I've been just kind of reading some of the things going on in our world. As I think about this, I just began to think that God has given me everything I need in this season of life. Even though it's like a rainy season where we're at stay-at-home orders and all the things going on around us and there's no sports and events and things going on, God has given me everything I need. And in 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 3, it says, His divine power has given us everything we need for a godly life through our knowledge of Him who called us by His own glory and goodness. I look at that verse and I see something in there. It says that I know who God is. I know who He's given me everything I need. He's given me divine power and everything I need for a godly life through our knowledge of Him. I know who God is. And I know who God is for me, and I know who God is to me. And I believe that you know who God is for you and who God is to you as well. And He's given us this divine power, and we are called by His name for His glory and for His goodness, for our sake and for the world's sake and those around us. And I just thought that was so powerful today, that even in this rainy season, what is God pushing us to do? Even in this rainy day, what is God calling us to do? Because I believe the rain can sometimes take us to those different places. And I believe God has given us everything we need, the knowledge of Him. God has given us a passion for those who don't know Him like we know Him. We are a church on the move, and we are a church that has a mission and a purpose. God has given us a social media platform during this time. He's given us live church online, and the cameras and the teams to do this stuff. God has given us 2 legs to run for 30 for Freedom, and I got my new shirt here in the mail yesterday to help promote 30 for Freedom. He's given us 2 legs to run for the sake of somebody else, and maybe that's what God is calling us to do. And a partnership. He's given us a partnership with the church, with River Youth family, because once a family, always a family. He's given us a partnership with the church, or with Speed the Light, or 30 for Freedom, or Convoy of Hope, or all these different organizations that are rescuing and restoring and bringing food and water to all these people that are desperate for something, for God to move in their life. And I think of the partnership, and I go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 3. And at this time, there was a church that was trying to figure out, do I listen to this person or that person? Who do I follow here? Paul said this, Apollo said this, and they're confused on who they're supposed to follow. And Paul writes a letter to the church in Corinth. He says, hold on here. Wait a second. And in verse 6, he says, I planted the seed. Apollos watered it. But God has been making it grow. I planted the seed, Apollos watered it, but God is making it grow. So neither the one who plants nor the one who waters is anything, but God who makes it grow. God begins to make it grow, and there's this partnership you see between Paul and Apollos. Paul sent the message. Apollos began to water it, and then God comes around and He begins to make it grow. He begins to make it grow. And so what can we do as a partnership with the church? What can we do with a partnership for River Youth, or with 30 for Freedom? What can we do in this partnership in this rainy season to partner with people to bring the water, to plant the seed, to make something grow as God begins to intervene and begin to do His part in the midst of it? You can send a message. Maybe that's planting the seed. And then watering it is inviting them to watch a youth service. Maybe it's given to Speed the Light, or sacrificing your funds, or the day that we run for freedom, or that we celebrate our freedom on the 4th of July, to run for somebody else's freedom. Maybe that's the watering. Maybe it's planting the seed, but there's so many things we can do. We can send a text message, a direct message. We can raise money for Speed the Light. We can run 30 for Freedom. You can sacrifice your reputation or your funds to be able to reach somebody for the lost. You can invite your friends to watch our youth service, but you can partner with River Youth. You can partner with Speed the Light. You can partner with Convoy of Hope. You can partner with God's people, and we can partner with God Himself in this rainy season to see growth begin to take place, maybe in your own life or maybe in the life of those around you. See, your efforts may be planting the seed. Your efforts may be the rainy season. Regardless, God is coming and He's going to make it grow. But maybe God is pushing you in this rain, in the storm, to do something that you are called to do. Noah. Man, so many people feel like they're 23 feet underwater, and Noah found favor with God. Noah found favor with God in the midst of finding favor with God after the storm was gone. 23 feet deep the mountains were. After the storm was gone, he saw something that was so mesmerizing and so beautiful. And it was the first rainbow and a covenant between man and God. You see, when the rain stops, beauty will present itself. After fishing opener, the rain on that cold, rainy day, we began to see greenery. You began to see the trees bud and the leaves grow and the grass begin to... And then whenever there's rain in the spring, it always brings the May flowers. Like the April rains bring May flowers. And so there's this growth that begins to take place with it. So after fishing over, I saw the green trees and the grass and the flowers and the earth literally come to life. The Israelites, some of you, God has put you under the cover of a boat to protect you from the frozen rain or from the hailstorms, just like He did for the Israelites. And much soon after those plagues happened, the Israelites were freed from captivity. You look at Legion, this possessed man who met Jesus because a storm pushed Jesus in the boat to the land where this man lived in. And God pushed that boat over there, and all of a sudden they begin to meet this man who is freed from this possession. Is God pushing you, or is God leading you to someone? Is He leading you to some cause or to some region where you need to plant a seed or sow a seed or water it so that God can bring growth? Sometimes it's the rain that brings out the greatest memories and experiences in life. Sometimes it's the rain that brings out the greatest memories or experiences in life. Think back to when you were a kid. When the rain came, it never stopped you from getting out there and doing something. I remember some specific examples. Man, when it rained when I was in college, I went and clogged the drain out in Elliott Park, and it filled up 2-3 feet full of water in the park, and we went skimboarding in the park. Another time at the Waters, when I was a youth pastor there, it began to rain so much so that the ditches filled with water, and we called somebody that had a Jeep, and we went wakeboarding in the ditches. When it rained, it presented opportunity. To get out and to do something, and I use those opportunities to do something fun. And so when it rains, make the most of every opportunity. Make the most of that opportunity and jump in a stinking puddle. Jump in the puddle and figure out, what is God doing in this season? What is God leading you to? What is He pushing you to? Or what is God trying to teach you to help develop that perseverance? So many times through history, you see so many people that prayed for rain. Even into Scripture, Elijah prayed for rain. Zechariah prayed for rain, and so many stories of people praying for rain. And I believe our world is desperately needing somebody to bring the rain. So students, can we let it rain? Can you be the rain? Can you water a seed that has maybe been planted so God can bring growth? Students, I want to let it rain. I want to let it rain. We are a church on the move. We don't stop preaching the gospel. You see, life in general has changed as we know it, but the mission remains the same. The mission remains the same. See, God has given us everything we need, so bring the rain. How can you be the rain? Can you run? Can you send the message? Can you invite somebody to watch online? Can you maybe create something you're passionate about for a Speed the Light project? What can you do? How can you send the rain? Would you watch this 30 for Freedom video with me right now?
You know it and I know it. During this time, we haven't been able to do the things that we normally get to do.
But one thing that hasn't stopped is sex trafficking.
Instead of thinking about what I can't do right now, I'm thinking about what I can do.
Inconvenience isn't going to stop us.
Because human trafficking never sleeps, and neither should we.
Slavery needs to stop.
30 for Freedom still needs to happen this year.
Because there are those that aren't even given an option to live a free and fulfilled life.
But we get to experience this amazing freedom. Everyone else should be able to experience it too. Let's get after it.
The work's not done.
There are still millions of people caught in human trafficking. Only fuels the fire to push until all are free. Free? Free.
Free.
Let's run for freedom.
Let's go.
Let's go!
Because the victims of sex trafficking can't run, but we can.
Let's keep running. Let's keep raising support.
Let's give them their freedom on the day we celebrate our freedom.
Every dollar is going to make a difference in somebody's life.
The issues before us have never been worse. The opportunities before us have never been greater. It's time to set them free.
Let's do this until all are free.
Hey guys, Pastor Dylan here. If you want to sign up for 30 for Freedom, you can go to 30forfreedom.org, and there's a sign up now button. When you click that sign up button, a form is going to pull up, and you want to make sure that under chapter you select Cold Spring, and then under your church make sure you also select Cold Spring / River of Life. And we're going to run together July 4th for the freedom of others. Also, stay tuned after worship. There's a special announcement that's regarding this weekend that you're not going to want to miss. And let's worship together.
We are excited to have you again joining us for a Church on the Move series. As you can see, we are the worship team on the move. We are able to make an altar of this place today. We ask that you do the same. Wherever you are, I want you to either stand to your feet or just stay seated. Make an altar of wherever you are right now, and let's begin to worship the Lord. Come on.
Favor waits within the future. My dreams are small compared to yours. Why should I worry about tomorrow when I know that all I gotta do is trust in you? Every little thing's gonna be alright. Just fine. Whether I can see it now, I know you will work it out for good. Every little thing, everything will be alright. The scenes and in the detail, you plan the perfect way for me. Why would I dwell upon the road's uncertainties when all I gotta do is look to you? All I gotta do is look to you. Let's sing it again, come on. Every little thing's gonna be alright. Every little thing's gonna be just fine. Whether I can see it now, I know you will work it out for good. will be alright. Even when I'm empty, I will bring an offering. I can never live a life that costs me nothing. I just want the real thing, no matter where it takes me. I refuse to pray a word that doesn't move me. All I know right now is I'm ready, and all I know right now is the real thing, Lord. You're the real thing, Lord. You're the real thing. Failure in the rear view, every doubt behind me, running with a wildfire of God inside me. Throw away the timeline, no more second guessing. It's plain to see my life is not my own. It's not about me, yes I know. And all I know right now is I'm ready, and all I want right now is the real thing, Lord. You're the real thing, Lord. You're the real thing. It's all that I am, to love you, my life, behold you. You're all my heart beats for. All that I have, to serve you, my life, to praise you. You're all my heart beats for. It's all that I am, come on. All that I am, to love you, my life, behold you. Sing, you're all my heart beats for. All that I have, to serve you, my life, to praise you. You're all my heart beats for. Jesus, you're the real thing. Ended all my searching, I finally realized that I'm alive to bring you glory. That's all I know. And all I know right now is I'm ready, and all I want right now is the real thing, Lord. You're the real thing, Lord. You're the real thing. All that I am, to love you, my life, behold you. You're all my heart beats 'cause you're the real thing. Ended all my searching, I finally realized that I'm alive to bring you glory. All I know right now is I'm ready, and all I want right now is the real thing, Lord. You're the real thing, Lord. You're the real thing.
Thank you for worshiping with us.
This Saturday, we have a Heartland graduation service.
It's going to be broadcasted at 1 o'clock.
If you'd like to watch live, please go to our social media page to learn how.
Thanks for tuning in.
Have a great week.
What are you guys doing in here? Service is over. You can leave. Okay? Just leave. You don't have to be here anymore, all right?